Nicole was born on the 30th of May 2002 in the UK. She's 14 years old and lives with her mom and her 4 siblings. She currently attends Kingsley Academy. She's a lover of music and pretty much everything around it. Her favorite colors are blue and pink. She tries to stay positive even in hard times. In the next 5 years, she sees herself becoming a millionaire, singer, actress, and someone who is able to travel globally to talk about challenges in teenagers, such as mental health and the transition into adulthood. Nicole is my guest today on The Justive Show. You're welcome back if you're just joining us. This is The Justive Show, and I have as a guest today a young lady who has been through quite a lot in the last couple of years, and she's here to tell us about her story, and that's in person of Nicole. Nicole, thanks for coming on The Justive Show.
Oh, you're welcome.
She's so sharp. This is interesting. Well, you're just 14, so you don't have too far back to go on like some of the other guests that I've had. So, but tell us, what were your growing up years like?
So, all the way back to the beginning, I was born in the UK in 2002, and I guess being raised up, I don't really remember too much about it, but I remember just living with my mum, like, a lot. My dad's in Jamaica, and yeah.
Your dad, was he there at your birth?
No.
He wasn't, okay, but he knew of your birth and all of that. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. But what primary? You're still in primary school, are you? No, forgive me, you're 14. Forgive me, you're 14. Okay, let's talk a bit about primary school. What was that like for you?
Primary school, honestly, didn't really enjoy.
Why is that?
I think I had to get moved to a different primary school when I was in year 1.
Why?
Because the school that I was in realised that I had a disability, like a learning difficulty, so I had to be moved to a school where they had mainstream classes and centre classes.
Now, I wouldn't have a clue what that is. So would you like to educate us?
Yeah. A mainstream class is just your average class, like average leveled people, whereas a centred class is like more focused on your learning disabilities and how you can learn like through your own terms.
Okay. I want to ask, I'm asking this out of probably ignorance and for a lot of people who don't know what learning disabilities are. Tell us about that. How was it?
A learning disability to me would be like, because I myself have like difficulties in remembering things, concentrating through lessons, and sometimes I'll just start behaving really silly out of nowhere, and yeah, it can affect my learning like quite a lot because I'm not able to understand what the teachers are saying, because whenever the teacher talks, I'll just go into my own world. And by the time it's work, I'm just so confused. And
so how do they help you? Where how do the teachers help you? That they know that you have these learning disabilities. So how do they help you focus, if that's the word that I could use?
I guess during classrooms, because there's not that many people in a centre class, it's just really easy to get an assistant to help you with your things. I think back when I was little, in almost all subjects, I would have a teaching assistant who would just help me and try to keep me concentrating on the work and things.
You must have done well because you're in secondary school now. right? Yeah, you must have. So, and tell us about your transition from primary to secondary school. How was that for you?
From primary to secondary school, I honestly started feeling a little bit better because, like, I could meet new people. And plus, the fact that no one from my primary school was going to the same school as me was, like, even better because I personally didn't really get along with any of the people.
In primary school. And was that because of your disability?
Partly, yeah.
So how were you able to cope with that? Are you saying in effect that you didn't have many friends in primary school because you had a disability?
You could say that, yeah.
So how did you cope? And it must have been very difficult for you. Knowing that you don't have, okay, when it's break time, you find other children playing with their friends and you had very few friends or probably no friend at all. How did you cope with that kind of situation?
Sometimes I would just try to feel in some sort of way happy about it, because less friends, less drama, etc., etc.
That's a very matured way of putting it.
But I kind of like started feeling left out on like other things as well, and I would usually just end up feeling really sad about it.
Oh. Okay. Well, on to secondary school. When you got into secondary school, what was that like? A whole new world for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think on transition day, I made quite a lot of friends, which obviously made me feel really happy, like moving to the next stage of life. But with the good things also comes the bad things. Like I think the first couple of weeks of year 7, there was this point where I was friends with someone, but then out of almost nowhere, like we weren't friends, and then that like somehow started turning into bullying because
They were now bullying you.
yeah, in a way.
And that made you feel really bad. So what happened? You just walked away from them. Tell us how that went.
I think now looking at what happened, I probably should have just walked away, but at the time, I already like kind of felt isolated with like all my other like learning problems, and
So having lost your friends, having been bullied, having had the learning disabilities, that now started to get to you, right? But when you go back home from school, what was home like? What was the situation like at home? Were your siblings a lot friendlier? What was play like for you at home?
Home to me is pretty much always going to be home. Like no matter what happens or how bad things get, home to me is like a safe place.
It's a safe place. So when those bad things happened to you at school, you get home, you tell your mom. Did you used to tell your mom about it? So you kept everything to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And was it because you were scared of what your mom would say, or why did you keep it to yourself when you had your mom there?
I honestly like really didn't want a fuss or anything. I just like somehow felt that I could like somehow fix it, but then instead of things getting better, they just started getting worse.
They got worse. Did you ever talk to your dad during all this period?
No, my dad was in Jamaica at the time.
He was in Jamaica, but have you spoken to him ever since? You said he wasn't there at your birth, but have you been in contact with him at any point?
I think there was a few phone calls, I think.
Okay, so he never. Have you ever met him?
No.
Okay. Now, the situation got worse, and then you started feeling like you didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, there was just this point where, like, just all my thoughts just caught up, and came to a point where I was just crying, like in the middle of class, I would just get upset, and things kind of went from bad to worse from there.
Okay, and were you ever crying at home?
I think during the night I would often cry, like not because of home, but
Because of what was going on?
yeah.
And you still didn't think there was anybody that you could talk to, not even your mom?
No, I just felt like my mum had way too many things.
Like what? What were the challenges you saw your mom go through that you didn't want to bother her?
She has to pay bills, look after all of us, buy us food, clothes, keep us all safe and things.
So you were like, I don't want to give mommy any more of you don't want to add any more trouble. Okay, we'll take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll still continue the show.
I just, at the time, desperately wanted
To go.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like
You didn't feel loved, you didn't feel wanted, you were just extremely upset.
Yeah. So then I went to the park. I took like the whole medicine thing. Then I just took a bus somewhere. I found like something really tall. I started like walking up to the thing. But then at that moment,
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Justice Show. We have a very brave young lady on the show today who is talking about her mental health issues. Did you ever self-harm?
oh, self-harming, I've never, like cutting wrist-wise, I've not done.
Okay, so what did you do?
I like, well, there was not, I don't think, ever a part where I self-harmed, but my thoughts just kept getting negative, and
Were you expressing your negative thoughts? Were you voicing your negative thoughts by doing anything that you felt you shouldn't ordinarily be doing?
I just I write all my thoughts down, and then I literally just keep reading it, keep getting upset, and also I kind of like sort of did an overdose, I think, though that wasn't.
You did an overdose, or it was nearly an overdose, not quite an overdose. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
For you to have attempted that it must have been a very low period for you where you had some really bad thoughts. What were those thoughts at that time? Can you remember?
I just, at the time, desperately wanted
To go.
Yeah. I just didn't feel like.
You didn't feel loved, you didn't feel wanted, you were just extremely upset.
Yeah.
So when you did take this, whatever you took, what happened?
I just had this massive headache. I think there was a point where I just blanked out for about 30 seconds.
And then you still didn't call your mom. Was your mom at home on that day? No, she wasn't. But when she came back home, did she sense anything? Did she notice that you'd done anything? She didn't.
I didn't tell her until like ages.
Ages ago. But had any other incident happened after that?
After that, yeah. In fact, it was last year.
Last year. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'll just try to keep it short.
Yeah. Just take your time. Take your time.
Basically, it was just an average school day. I kind of like planned that day where I'd actually kill myself. I originally had a plan to like make a noose and then go to a park and then sort of like just do it there. But then I lost it, so the alternative was to like find a high building to like just jump on. I also bought this medicine thing as well. Like now thinking, I don't know why. So then I went to the park. I took like the whole medicine thing. Then I just took a bus somewhere. I found like something really tall. I started like walking up to the thing. But then at that moment, as my thoughts were just getting worse, somehow this song came up. And because I was listening to music at the time, like I was such a negative place. I'd listened to such negative music. And then there was that one song, I think just got me thinking, like, why am I doing this? How are my family going to feel about it? How are my friends going to feel about it? Is it going to resolve the actual problem? So then I stopped, and then I cried for about 5-10 minutes. And then I went down, I got back home, and then there was the police and my mum and my sister.
Was that because your mom didn't know where you were?
Yeah.
Okay, and they took you away?
Not really take me away. For about half an hour, they were talking to me about where I was, what happened, that thing. And then they called an ambulance to come so that I was to go to
Because
hospital.
of the medicine that you had taken?
Partly, but because also I had a mental health problem as well. So they took us all to a hospital. I had to take some of my things because I was going to stay there for a couple of days as well, just to make sure I don't do anything else stupid. Then after about 4 days, I get admitted into a hospital that like sort of deal with mental health and things. I stayed there for about 2.5 months.
Okay, so what did they do for you that helped you get better? Were they coming to talk to you every day? Were you on some form of medication?
To help me get better, they would there was lots of nurses, every day. They would come talk to me about the problem. I think on the Monday, that was when I had this meeting with the doctor, some of the nurses, and then they were just talking to me what's happened and things, and if there's any ways that I do try and cope. I think on that same day I got put straight on medication that kind of helps balance the thoughts in my head.
Thoughts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in hospital now, and I want to believe that you were in a ward. And were there other young people your age that were there?
I think at the time there was only one other person that was about 13, 14, same age as me. But apart from that one person, everyone else is 15, 16, 17. I think after the first month of me being there, people were getting discharged and new people were coming and things. And then as soon as that one person left, I think I was the youngest person. So everyone like almost like babied me, just made sure I was okay and just really helped support me and things.